In the winter of 1973, Claude Maurice Marcel Vorlon encountered an extraterrestrial who over several days would bestow onto Claude a message of great importance which he alone was to deliver to the people of Earth. Hold on to your pants, everybody, because today on Odin's Throne, we discuss the history, deviant behaviors, and cult status of the Raelians. Imagine for a moment, if you will, it's the early 70s, middle of France, and you're standing in the bowl of a dormant volcano. Suddenly, through the winter mist comes a flying saucer. The saucer opens to reveal a 4-foot extraterrestrial being who has almond-shaped eyes, long black hair, and a black beard. And to top it all off, he's wearing a green jumpsuit. The extraterrestrial tells you that you are the chosen one who will deliver a message of great importance to the entire world. But in order to get that message, you have to go home, get a Bible, a notepad, and a pen, and come back the next day. Can you imagine it? Can you put yourself there? Well, that's exactly what Claude Maurice Marcel Vorlon claims happened, leading him to found a religion called Raelianism. Claude Maurice Marcel, forget it. He changes his name to Rael. Let's just call him Rael from now on. So Rael went home after his first meeting with the alien, gathered the required items, and sure enough, the next day the alien showed up right on time, and Rael got his first lectures revealing the true history of mankind. The alien imparted quite a bit of knowledge to Rael over multiple days, so we're going to talk about some of the highlights. Now, it should be noted that none of the following information is in any way made up. You can read it all for yourself in Rael's book, Intelligent Design, Message from the Designers, which is available for free download on the Raelians website, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. Now, this is not an endorsement, obviously, but it certainly is 400 pages of absolute wow. So, during their sessions together, the alien recounted the history of the planet Earth, and here are 4 of the big take-home points. Number 1. The alien claimed that the true meaning of the Hebrew word Elohim, which was apparently mistranslated in most versions of the Bible, actually translated to people from the sky. The alien says this suggests that it was not a god who created the world, but rather a group of Elohim scientists from the alien's home planet. Number 2. These scientists, while still on the alien's home planet, figured out how to bioengineer life. Now, this, of course, was a great success, but unfortunately, one of the experiments got loose and killed a bunch of people, so the government shut the whole practice down. This, of course, made some of the scientists seek out other planets to house their experiments. And, of course, it just so happened that intergalactic travel had also just been invented. So, the scientists went cruising around the galaxy and eventually chose Earth as their new lab space. Number 3. Wouldn't you know it, that the processes that the alien scientists used to terraform and populate the Earth were an exact match with most of what is written in the book of Genesis. The alien matched up many passages with an alternate reality of humanity, where Noah's Ark was a spaceship, the Tower of Babel was a huge rocket, and Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed by a nuclear bomb intended to kill the most deviant humans, which were an unintentional side effect of the bioengineering process. And this list goes on and on and on. There are alternate realities for Moses, Samson, Ezekiel, the multiplication of bread, and that's just in the Old Testament. It all had explanations brought about by these Elohim scientists. Number 4. You can't bring the Bible into play without explaining the role of Jesus. So they did. The role of Jesus was to spread the word of the Bible to as many people as possible so that when the age of science and reason came around, everyone would be ready to accept the true reality of which the alien spoke. So basically, the creators arranged for a human woman to have a baby, and then they gave him telepathy. Yep, that's in the book. So this is the basis of Raelianism. Everything you know about the Bible is true, but the causal factors are different. There are no gods, only the Elohim and their super advanced technology. So now that we have the backstory a little bit out of the way, let's get into some of the deviant beliefs that make up what it is to be a Raelian. The Raelians believe in intelligent design, but trust me, this is not your born-again aunt's conception of it. As previously noted, Raelians believe that everything on the planet was created by the Elohim. As Rael puts it, Evolution of the various forms of life on Earth is really the evolution of techniques of creation and the increased sophistication of the Creator's work. So the Raelian version of intelligent design all boils down to, yes, it looks like evolution, but really, humans only came after their ancestors because the creators got better at making stuff. So this conveniently allows for a scientific view of evolution, but again changes the causal factors, which in reality makes it completely unscientific. Sensual meditation is a cornerstone of the Raelian lifestyle. In Rael's book, Sensual Meditation, he gives guidelines for achieving harmony with the infinite through a series of meditation techniques, which typically ends in intercourse between two people and what he calls a cosmic orgasm. The basic concept here is that if you heighten all 5 of your senses, you'll become more in tune with your surroundings, and hence more in tune with the infinite largeness and smallness of the universe. Raelians say that the practice of sensual meditation has all kinds of benefits, including re-equilibration of the metabolic system, whatever that is, decreases in stress, and curative and preventative properties. I say it's probably more likely just a sneaky way to get laid. I mean, after all, male Raelians outnumber female Raelians at a rate of 3 to 1. When becoming a member of any religious group, you'll often be subjected to some kind of initiation ceremony, and the Raelians are no exception. When officially becoming a Raelian, you must do 2 things. First, you must commit the act of apostasy, which includes renouncing any and all prior religious beliefs. Second, you must undergo something called the transmission of the cellular plan. This is basically a baptism, but through the process, Raelians believe that their genetic information is downloaded to a remote Elohim computer for use at a later time. The Raelians also have overt politics within their beliefs. Paradism is the political system which Raelians strive towards. Paradism is a modified version of communism in that all wealth will be redistributed equally across the population. However, in paradism, there's no working class who produces the goods. Instead, an army of robots will be created in order to achieve 100% efficiency, where everyone will be provided with food, water, and shelter, with no need whatsoever to work. Sounds great. Paradism claims that with work out of the way, humanity will be able to spend all their time doing the things they want to do. Of course, off the cuff, I can think of a couple major problems, like where are the robots coming from, and who's going to fix the robots. But this channel is dedicated to cults and religion, and not politics, so let's leave it at that. Most religious groups tend to have their fair share of controversies, and Raelianism certainly have had theirs, but not necessarily the types of controversies you might expect from a cult. An early controversy, which did do significant damage to the perception of the Raelians, was focused on the symbol that was chosen to represent them. The Raelian symbol appears to be a Star of David with a swastika in the middle. Obviously, the knee-jerk reaction to this is not a good one. Several anti-Raelians, in the 90s especially, claimed that this symbol showed that the Raelians were fascists and racists. At first glance, this seems like a pretty reasonable assumption. However, as with most things in Raelian culture, it's a bit more complicated than that. According to Rael, the symbol is not a Star of David and does not carry any Nazi connotation with it. Instead, he says the star is a combination of an upward-pointing arrow, which represents the infinitely large, and a downward-pointing arrow, which represents the infinitely small. The center is indeed a swastika, but it takes its meaning from an earlier version of the symbol from before the Nazis co-opted it for their own purposes. The swastika, to the Raelians, represents infinity in time. The symbol as a whole, then, is said to represent infinity in time and space. So, long story short, according to the ascribed meaning of the symbol, Raelians are not Nazi sympathizers or anti-Semites. After dealing with this misconception for quite some time, the group decided it would be better to change the symbol to something a little bit less suspicious looking, and they came up with this swirl design. The most recent troubles that the Raelians have had came in 2009, when a longtime member claimed that significant parts of Rael's intelligent design book appear to be plagiarized from another French author named Jean Sendy, who wrote a book in 1969. This accusation has led to an apparent sharp decline in membership, as numbers in 2012 were around 90,000 worldwide members, whereas more recent numbers show the group to only be at around 18,000 worldwide. However, these lower numbers were taken from supposed leaked documents from the inner circle of the Raelians, so it's hard to say where the group's membership truly stands today. Undoubtedly, the biggest controversy for the Raelians came in 1997 when it was announced that the Raelian movement had started a company whose sole purpose was to achieve successful human cloning. This caused a bit of an uproar in the cloning community, with several politicians becoming involved, including then-President Bill Clinton. Several new rules were put in place to stop cloning research in the United States. However, shortly after this, the Raelians made the announcement that they had received funding from a different company in the Bahamas called Valiant Venture Limited. 5 years later, a claim was made at a public press conference that the Raelian-backed company had successfully cloned the first human. This, of course, shocked the world for all of about 2 seconds, until it was revealed that neither the clone nor the parents of the clone would be identified due to privacy reasons. The group gave absolutely no evidence whatsoever, and the whole thing was eventually passed off as a publicity stunt. So, with all of this, are the Raelians a cult? I bet you can guess. The group is, of course, very new, starting around 1974. They have an incredibly charismatic leader in Rael. They have many deviant beliefs, which, although they don't produce super deviant behavior, they're still pretty far out there. They renounce common conceptions of science and mainstream religion, and of course, they're all about sexy stuff. Now, on the other hand, the Raelians, including Rael, seem to be quite a happy lot. They appear to support social welfare of mankind, which includes their quasi-communist paradigm, which would mean food and shelter for all, which is great, but again, probably not very realistic. With all that taken into consideration, I say yes, of course the Raelians are a cult, but they're really more of a whoa, far out dude type of cult than an oh god, run away type of cult. So, on the cult scale, I give Rael and his merry band of Raelians 4 Elohim spacecraft out of 10. So there you have it. Do you think Raelianism is a cult? Let me know in the comments below. The content of this video was gathered primarily from empirical sources and archived interviews with Rael and members of the group. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see a specific topic addressed on Odin's Throne, please comment below.